Former U.S. President Barack Obama emphasized during the early part of his first term that the United States was experiencing an empathy deficit far more serious than the budget deficit. In his words, we've become so cynical that it almost seems naive to believe that we can understand each other across the gulf of race, class, or religion. I believe the best way to address this deficit is to learn from our teachers, where empathy is a necessary ingredient to shape the minds of our future leaders. My lovely guest today, Milaure Muteba, is a teacher at L'École, a bilingual school in Raleigh, North Carolina, and one of the reasons why my 4-year-old son speaks such good French and loves going to school every day. We will talk about bilingualism in children, practicing patience, and how multicultural schools like L'École foster cross-cultural interaction that promotes open-mindedness and a global worldview that molds children into adults who will better understand one another across race, class, and religion. President Obama, if you are listening, there is hope. This is E3, Engage and Empower with Empathy. Bonjour Milaure, c'est un grand plaisir de vous avoir comme invité sur ce podcast aujourd'hui. It's such a delight to have you on this podcast today, Milaure.
Thank you. Merci.
Je vous en prie. And obviously the topic today is about creating global citizens. What a wonderful gift you are giving to our young people, and we'll definitely talk a little bit about that. But before we get into that topic, I want to talk about your background because it's absolutely fascinating. You are a medical doctor and you're originally from the Democratic Republic of Congo in Africa. So, how on earth did your professional career journey bring you to eventually teach French to preschoolers in the United States?
Thank you for that question. For my short story, as you just mentioned it, I was practicing my medicine in the Congo. And also in the Congo, you have like 8 years of college to become a general doctor. So I finished my 8 years and start practicing my medical profession, like career. And I wanted to specialize as a pediatrician. But then I got married. So my husband and and I decided to move in the US and get that as an opportunity to go forward with my career as a pediatrician. So when I first got here, one of my challenges was the language. I had to learn English. So I looked forward to work in a structure that would help me to do both, like doing what I like, working with children as a pediatrician, and also practice and learn the language in a professional environment. So now it's been almost 7 years that I work with young children at L'École French International School of Raleigh. And I've learned so much from the children than they learn from me as a teacher. So that's how I end up teaching French.
So, do I understand this correctly? Is it still your plan to pursue pediatrics eventually? Or are you working towards a certification in the US? How does that work?
So first, when you get in the US, you have tests, and those tests are in English, of course. So you have to do those tests and get the license as a physician. As I was learning English, I couldn't jump right away in those tests. And let's say I'm still in that process because I miss working to the hospital. I miss my medicine. But for the moment, I'm also a mom. I'm a teacher. So I enjoy doing that. Let's say that's still in the process and I will get there. When, I don't know yet, but it's in the process.
Well, I'm sure it's a very rewarding journey for you as well. And I'm sure there are lessons that you've learned from your pediatric experience in Africa that you're carrying over to your current teaching experience here in the United States, which is
Yeah.
probably why many of the children in your class look up to you and are inspired by you. So we can talk a little bit about that, because actually one of the reasons I was really excited to interview you today is that I truly believe empathy is at the core of every good teacher and medical doctor as well, quite frankly, especially teachers of young children and teachers who are helping students learn a foreign language. So I think there's a double or a triple need for empathy in this case.
Right.
And you have this amazing aura about you that really inspires everyone who interacts with you. You're like a people magnet. What is your secret to success? Why do you think that is?
So, first of all, I think working with children would make you the most patient person in the world. So, you need a lot of patience, a lot of patience to work with them. And second of all, I think my will is to transmit the knowledge to the young generation so that they can positively impact the world. So that is like my small participation into the world as a human being. I want the young generation to have that knowledge of another language that can so that they can use it like in their professional place or in their relationship. I want them to have that knowledge. When I do my work, I do my best to teach them something that they can use in the future and they can use it positively. And finally, about my aura, I'm just myself. I give the best of myself when I'm talking to people, when I teach, when I do a job, when I'm working with children. I give the best of me so that the interaction can be great. And also, I'm one of the person who likes to spread joy around me. I really like to spread that joy at my workplace, like with my friends, or even with the children that I teach. I love spreading joy among them. Maybe that's my secret.
That's a really good point. It reminds me a lot of a conversation I had with Annabelle Tonkovic in a previous episode, where she was talking about how she would bring her personal joy to work. And then that joy became contagious because other people would see her bringing her joy to work. So she gave me an example of, those big medicine balls that people use to exercise and yoga and things like that. She decided she was going to bring a medicine ball to work with her to sit on to help with her posture. That was her little piece of joy that she brought to work so that she would be more comfortable at her desk. And she said, attracted so much attention. That wasn't the goal. The goal was for her own personal comfort and joy while she was
Right.
working.
Mhm.
But she would get people coming up to her and asking her, and why are you sitting on a ball? What's that for?
Mhm.
So it started conversations, and then other people were thinking, oh, how can I make my daily work experience more joyful? And it could be something as simple as bringing a medicine ball to sit on at your desk. So I think what you said about being joyful with others and deliberately bringing that joy to work really makes an impact on other people, and it becomes almost contagious because people pick up on it and then
Mhm.
they become joyful. I don't
That's
know
right.
if you've had any specific experiences of you bringing joy to work where you've really seen a tangible impact on other people. Do you have any specific examples?
Um, I know that at l'école, for example, we do celebrate all our Fridays. So when it's Friday, the teacher are very happy. And I used to tell everyone Happy Friday, Happy Friday. The more I was saying Happy Friday to people, I think few of the teacher joined me, and now we celebrate Friday. Like on Friday morning, we we do our little happy dance every morning with the other teachers, just to say that today's Friday, and that's the end of the week, and then the next day will be the weekend, so that we can rest as a teacher. So now it became our tradition. When it's Friday, someone comes and say Happy Friday. We put a little music, and then we dance in the hallway before the kids enter into the school.
Oh, I love
And
that.
I think that that's something very very maybe little, but I think it's important to do that every Friday. After a long week of work, we celebrate our Friday like that. And it started just simple. Like I was saying Happy Friday to everyone. Happy Friday. When I say Happy Friday, they knew that Milo. I think it's very cultural in the US too. They always say Happy Friday. That's something I learned from the US, and that's very good. I like it.
That's a lovely example. It's super simple, but really brings happiness to your colleagues. I've noticed when I drop off my child at school in the morning and just walk through the hallways, I can feel the joy in the staff just by the friendly greetings you get, because all the teachers are standing outside their doors. Bonjour, bonjour. You just get this beautiful, just happy feeling when you come into the school. You feel so welcomed. On the note of celebrating Fridays, obviously the example you gave was the teachers celebrating, but I know my son looks forward to Fridays because it's show and tell day. That's a way that you are asking the children to bring their joy to school on Friday,
That's
because
exactly
it could be
right.
something really simple, a stuffed animal or a picture. It's nothing elaborate, but it means
Hmm.
so much to the child that
Right.
they can bring something that means something to them and talk about it
Hmm.
with their classmates. And that's made a huge impact on my son, to the point where now that
Oh.
he's in summer camp and he's not in school anymore, he still wants show and tell on Fridays.
Oh.
He actually asked me this morning if he could bring his music book to camp on
Oh,
Friday, and
so
I said
cute.
sure, but I don't think there's show and tell at camp. So just wanted to you know let you know that I've made that observation as well, that just
Right.
that little activity you do with the
Hmm.
children to let
Hmm.
them bring their joy to school
Right.
makes a huge difference.
That's good to hear. And he's not the only one who like the show and tell on Friday. A lot of kids would just wait for that Friday to arrive so that they can bring something from home and share it and show it to their friends. I think that's also a great activity the children, the students like during the year.
It's so sweet, and it's making me think, why don't we do show and tell at work? Why can't adults do this? Just throwing that out
Yeah.
there. Just throwing that out there. Um, for all of you people leaders listening, and throwing out that idea. The other thing that I wanted to talk to you about is so my husband and I chose to send our children to l'école for a multitude of reasons, but the main one was to help them become global citizens without having to leave their hometown. Not everyone has the luxury of transporting their child to a foreign country so that they can learn in an expat school. Obviously,
Right.
that would be a wonderful experience, but it's wonderful when you have something in your backyard that would give them that similar experience. And I
Mhm.
think we all have read about the cognitive benefits of bilingualism in children, so we won't go into that today. But I'd like to hear from you about the cultural benefits and how the curriculum at l'école shapes its students into more informed and eventually more responsible adults.
Yeah, about the cultural benefits, I think that would allow the children or the students to have an open mind or an open heart to the world around them, and to know what is happening around the world outside of the US, because most of the kids are maybe born here. They never went to Africa, they never went to Europe or to Asia. But at l'école, I think starting with the staff itself, we have a lot of races. Like we have people from Africa, people from Europe, people from Asia, and we try to bring all that benefit together so that the children can know the difference that exists around the world. We try to make them understand that French, for example, it's not spoken only in France or in Paris. We have other countries that speak French. For example, I'm from the Democratic Republic of Congo. French is my first language, so we speak French there, but it's in Africa. So the student, when they see me, maybe first they can think that I'm from France, but then they will know that no, I'm not from France. I'm from another country that is not France, but we speak French over there. We also teach them what is going on like around the world, like outside of the US. For example, last year we had our main team talking about the Olympic Games. With that team, I think we teach we all the activities, the books where was talking about the Olympic Games, the different continents that will come together to live the Olympic Games. The Olympic Games will take place in France, in Paris. So we were doing all the activities to teach them what is going on. Like at this time in the world, we have the Olympics that will take place in France. All the songs were around the Olympic Games, and that's something cultural that they have to learn. We want them to be aware of what is happening around the world, not only in the US, but also in Africa, in other countries, in other continents. That knowledge, it's something that you will not find everywhere else in other schools. We have that particular benefit at l'école that we can transmit to the children.
I fully agree. And it just reminds me of my experience learning French in high school when I would go through the textbook and literally all the images and the content was centered around France and Paris. It gave you the impression that when you talk about the French language, you just immediately associate it with France and especially Paris. And it's not true. I mean, to your point, I mean, you are sitting with me today from Africa and are Francophone. I think it's wonderful that young children are being exposed to this level of diversity, even within the realm of the French language at such a young age that I certainly wasn't exposed to at that young age. On a similar vein, we're seeing a pretty big trend in corporate America, at least, to implement diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. And I think l'école seems to just naturally attract diversity. You don't need to set up a formal program to attract diversity into your student body or even your staff. So what do you think it is about l'école that just naturally attracts diversity?
If I can talk about one of the secrets of l'école, it's might be about the staff. I think the staff itself, as I mentioned it earlier, it's very diverse. So we have people from different corner of the world, and we try also to spread it around like the parents or the children. At the end of the year, we have our International Day where parents have to bring a different dish of their country and we share that together. I think those kind of activities or events are very important for children so that they can see the difference around them, and uh, they can learn how to live with that difference around them. Maybe that's something that's among the strength of l'école. We have that very diverse staff. We have people from DRC, from Democratic Republic of Congo, where I'm from. We have people from Morocco. We have people from Asia. We have people from the US. We have people from Europe, and that's wonderful. We have teacher from France, and Mary Claire herself, she's from France, but she lives here in the US for many years. So she knows a lot about the culture in the US. She tries to mix those two so that everybody can find their interest in l'école.
And for those of you who are not familiar with L'École, Marie Claire is actually the director of the school. Milaure was referencing Marie Claire. I want to dig into this a little bit more because I remember you telling me one time that you actually had a parent approach you and say, I chose L'École because I saw you. Tell me more about that, because I think that's an interesting story.
That's right. So when I first started at l'école, maybe I was the only Black woman as a teacher over there. One day I saw a parent saying that I came first to visit l'école, and then I saw you as a teacher. And then I decided to register my daughter. And she told me that. After registering a daughter, she told me that, you know why I chose l'école? I say, no, tell me more. And she said, I chose l'école and I chose to put my child at l'école because I saw you. And I was like, what do you mean? She said, I think my daughter will be safe. I was like, how? And then she said, no, you are a teacher. If maybe something bad happened, I think you will be fair enough to denounce it or to talk about it. So I think my child will be safe, as you are a member of l'école, you are a member of the staff. I was very touched.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. And I think once again, it seems simple, but to have that level of diversity in the staff is so critical for attracting the diverse population that you're looking to attract to begin with. And I think corporations can learn from that. If you don't have a leadership team that is diverse, then how do you expect to retain diverse talent in your workforce if they're not seeing leaders who look like them or behave like them? Or because obviously there's so much more to diversity than just culture. I think it speaks 1,000 words when an organization is willing to invest in diversity in its leadership team, and I think L'École has done that beautifully. So thank you for sharing that story with us. I think that's a great way to wrap up this episode. I wish you all the best, Milaure, and we'll continue to enjoy watching you create our future global citizens, our future leaders of the world. I think it's wonderful that people like you are responsible for shaping the minds of our young generation. Secretly happy that you're not yet a medical doctor in the United States, because my children are reaping the benefits of your teaching skills. But obviously wish you all the best as you continue to work towards going back into pediatrics at some point.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rebecca. And thank you so much for the consideration. I was so happy to share this conversation with you.
If you enjoyed this podcast and would like to hear more, please subscribe wherever you like to listen to podcasts. Life is too short. Let's take care of each other at work so that together we can make this world a better place.